Hey guys, Dajix here back with another Borderlands video. This time running through all the new mechanics and features in Borderlands 4 when compared to the previous titles. We'll be talking armor shields, overshields, Repkits, Ordnance, new manufacturers, enhancement mods, movement, SDU upgrades, Moxxi's boss renew, vehicle parts, Echo 4, Claptrap, ammo, skill points, fishing, firmware, bosses, the compass, co-op changes, mission replay, and so much more. Let's get right into it. The first point I want to get out of the way is the world is open. You can travel from one side to another, experiencing dynamic weather without loading screens. I'm not a personal fan of open worlds, but this is their natural progression from Borderlands 3, where each map had zones you loaded into, but they were realistically there because of software and hardware limitations. Devs stated that they focus on opening up the game and removing limitations in a lot of aspects. Rather than just changing a lot of different things, they've improved upon what works in ways I'll be going through. One example is the skill trees for each Vault Hunter. They're absolutely massive with a ton of choice for all the build brewers out there. Each Vault Hunter has 3 trees that has a starting area, then 3 branching paths. Over 50 levels, you'll have 49 points to spend, which is enough to reach the capstone of one tree and almost to the capstone of another, or reach 2 capstones and a bit in one single tree. So you'll have not nearly enough points to max everything out like you could almost do in 3 after the DLC. However, the devs have stated that they planned this tree for the DLC level increases, so you'll still feel differentiated from other Vault Hunters. If you check out my Rafa and Vex skill tree breakdowns, we run through the sheer mind-blowing amounts of builds. However, it's the combination of this and the sheer amount of variety in gear that turns my theory crafting brain into mush. So let's start with the inventory. Take a look at your weapons and the new license part system. It's similar to what we had before. Weapons will drop with particular randomized modifiers. However, now some modifiers are tied to specific manufacturers. For example, take a look at the legendary that dropped after I killed the Vault monster, the Husky Friend. It has a TDO and Jacobs licensed part attached. The TDO part makes it so you can throw the weapon away instead of reloading for an effect, and the Jacobs part giving the signature ricochet effect when you get a crit. I'll try to make it more clear. Each manufacturer only licenses out one part. For Jacobs, it's the barrel that grants the crit ricochet. You won't be rolling guns with a Jacobs stock, for example. Now, there are still weapon parts that bestow different stat bonuses, but licensed parts are their own thing. So every gun will be made up of passive stat increases from parts and licensed parts, which grant the weapon the manufacturer's signature effect. Note that licensed parts also roll on Ordnance. You'll see here a TDO licensed part on the faulty detonator. You'll also notice that the licensed parts act differently on explosive grenades, with TDO giving a remote detonation effect. We see the Vladov is exploding on impact, Ripper is teleporting to a target, and Order is homing on nearby enemies. So grenades function differently, but throwing ordnance that's not a grenade, like throwing knives, roll with their own properties. For example, here we see a Jacobs part that lets the knives crit when hitting a weak point. So knives are a grenade for skills that reference grenades, but have different rolled properties. I know it's all kind of confusing, but it's not really something we need to know in depth just yet. Now, there are a lot of manufacturers, I'll go through the new ones soon, but some only start rolling on weapons of a particular level or higher. They want to drip feed you mechanics so you don't get completely overwhelmed with the sheer build variety up front. Also, different rarities roll with different amounts of potential modifiers, like licensed parts, with Epic or Purple Gear rolling with potentially 4 licensed parts on one piece of gear. Legendary weapons can roll with 3, as one slot is always taken by the legendary effect. So yes, sometimes you're going to want an epic weapon over a legendary, and the team is aiming for more build choice and variety. Now though epics can roll with 4, you can see that they don't always do that. It seems like the higher level you go, the higher chance of finding more modifiers on your weapons. Just like the Husky Friend only rolled with 2, probably because it dropped at level 20 instead of 50. These licensed parts go one step further with enhancement mods down in the bottom right of the inventory. These buff manufacturers and provide stat bonuses. This one has explosiception and makes it so weapons with torque licensed parts fire stickies that hit for a bonus 50% damage when first attached to an enemy. Another example is Jacobs gets to ricochet non-critical bullets, so you can specialize in a particular part or manufacturer you like, or simply equip an enhancement that best suits your build. I probably should mention here that there are different manufacturers in the game. We have Order, Ripper, and Daedalus. Order weapons focus on precision and burst damage and can be charged for more powerful attacks. From my testing, they were fine, but I didn't see the value of the effect just yet. Ripper is your COV type manufacturer. Instead of unlimited ammo though, it provides fully automatic weapons that require a brief charge up before firing. However, in practice, I found this charge up very annoying. They fire much faster, but it's not a game where you leave the fire button pressed in, unless of course you're against the boss, but these bosses are much more interactive. It's highly likely I was just not acclimatized yet, but still it wasn't my favorite. The last new manufacturer is Daedalus, characterized by their versatility, offering weapons that can utilize multiple ammo types. Other manufacturers like Jacobs, Malawan, Vladov, TDO, and Torque will be returning, with others relegated to licensed parts. Back to it. In this slot are Repkits. No longer will you need to find health drops, you'll have a heal on a button press. This Repkit, the large pacemaker, heals you for 52, then 97 over 8 seconds with a 19-second cooldown. It also has other effects like granting you 40% movement speed over 8 seconds, so there'll be plenty of Repkits with a low heal amount that grant you buffs that suit your build. I foresee players using this tool to simply increase their DPS or maneuverability. Guaranteed a speedrunner will use a Repkit like this to fly around the map. So this is yet another layer of your build that you'll need to consider. It's all really adding up, isn't it? Well, I'm not even close to done yet. Next to the Repkit, we have a slot for Ordnance. Now, I've talked about Ordnance in depth over 2 videos because I love this edition so damn much. I don't really want to talk your ears off some more about it, so let's cut to the chase. This is where you place weapons designated Ordnance, which is now all heavy weapons, grenades, and throwing weapons like axes and knives. Instead of burning through ammo fast and making it so players either never use them or use them up too quickly, they have their own independent cooldown. This riddled Ravenfire is an explosive heavy weapon that you pull out and unleash on your enemies. After the ammo is expended, it goes on cooldown for 49 seconds. Here is the Vampiric Jelly Grenade. It has 4 charges and gains a charge every 8 seconds, so yes, you'll be using your ordnance very often, multiple times in fights, and you won't need to worry about burning through all your ammo. Each Vault Hunter has ways of building around ordnance. For example, Rafa has the middle branch of his trees focusing on ordnance damage or free grenades in some way. Note that throwing weapons count as grenades for all buffs in the skill tree, even though they roll with different manufacturer licensed parts and effects, which we just talked about. Class mods are next, but from what I can see, these haven't changed much. They still provide an increase to your skills and passive buffs. Next is your shield slot, but wait, this has changed. You can either have an energy shield or armor shield equipped. Yes, armor, new to the Borderlands series. Let's take a look. The first number is the total amount of armor you'll gain from the shield. The next is the amount of segments. This will make more sense soon. The last stat is the flat damage reduction you get. So this armor shield gives 22% damage reduction so long as you have armor. The 249 total would actually be closer to 300 effective points of damage mitigation. Now, the cool thing about armor is that, unlike shields, which only start regenerating after a period of not taking damage, armor is always building up the bar here, and when it fills, you'll get back an armor segment. So if you have 3 segments total and currently have 1.5 segments, you'll regen up to 2.5 segments when that bar fills. Armor naturally is better for brawlers who like to be in the thick of the fight, and energy shields are better at absorbing burst damage. This is because energy shields regenerate much faster as long as you're good at guerrilla warfare, which means keeping yourself away from fire. But you might be thinking, okay, so having less segments is better. Not always. Most armors have effects to do with segments. For example, the heavyweight armor knocks back enemies and grants a movement speed on each segment break. So sometimes effects benefit from having more segments. Also, armor takes more damage from corrosive, like you'd expect, and energy shields take more from shock. This will come into play versus bosses of that specific type, and you might want to plan ahead. Note that anything that buffs shields also buffs armor shields. Saying that out loud sounds ridiculous, but some people consider armor as a separate thing in games like this. So the two types of shield is energy and armor, both getting benefits from skills and gear that say shield, which leads us to Overshield. This is a new mechanic in Borderlands 4, and you may have already seen legendaries and skills like Vex's skill right here that benefit from it. Basically, if your shield has a maximum, Overshield goes beyond that for an amount dictated by said skills and gear, but the shield amount eventually decays after around 8 seconds or more if invested into. Late game, you'll be looking at Firmware, which seems to roll on gear that's not a gun. We haven't seen it in action yet, but these will be set bonuses that you can transfer between gear at Firmware stations. No, you can't craft gear, but you can modify their firmware. How powerful these set bonuses are have not been revealed. So moving on to movement, which has been updated as well. Like in Borderlands 3, you can slide, but you can also use a jetpack and a grappling hook. Jetpacks give you vertical movement, aka a double jump, and also allow you to glide. I say glide because you do slowly descend. You also have a grappling hook that will activate on button press when an area that can be grappled to is in sight. I say area because bosses will be able to be grappled as well. The Vault monster we fought requires us to use the grapple and jetpack often. You have to double jump to avoid a tail whip, then grappling hook to pods and glide in order to avoid an acid floor. Grappling specific boss parts opens up weak points. You also have the ability to dash and wall climb. Dashing specifically was something I missed going back to Borderlands 3 after playing 4. So you can use all these new tools to solve side missions and puzzles, or even fish. Yes, you can fish with your grappling hook, but make sure to catch what comes out of the water before it falls back in and is gone forever. This is a cute little minigame. Moving around also won't be hampered by needing to stop and collect ammo, as it now auto collects instead of you needing to hold in a button after opening lockers and the like. So movement will help with bosses, but bosses will also have immune phases, which means you won't be able to instant burn through their health and trivialize a fight, at least at the start. If you've killed the boss once and fight it again, the immune phases will disappear, letting you farm that boss much easier. You can do this with the new Moxxi's Encore machine. Activating it will respawn the boss and let you enter and take it out again, also letting you farm for gear much easier. You can replay whole missions as well, a feature you can activate right from the menu. So if you like something or want to replay it without your mate talking in your ear, you can do it. In Borderlands 3, we had an area in the hub to upgrade our storage. Instead, you have an SDU section of your menu where you can spend SDU tokens you gain from side content in the world. Here you can upgrade your max ammo for weapons, your backpack size, bank size, and maximum lost loot storage. The devs state you won't need to farm side content to have a reasonable amount of storage, it's just a little bit extra. You can customize your Vault Hunter more than you ever could in Borderlands 3, but that's really to be expected. You can also customize your helpful robot friend, Echo 4, who is new to the Borderlands series. With a press of a button, he'll create a line for you to follow to your objective. Speaking about customization, you can further customize your weapon's looks. What is new is the ability to summon a vehicle to your side anytime you're outdoors in the open world. You no longer need to catch a ride, which is now needed since the game is open world. You'll notice the vehicle's looks and stats are completely independent. You select a vehicle, then a hover drive. The vehicle is its looks and the drive is the stats. For example, here is a Jacobs all-rounder starter drive. Yes, drives have particular manufacturers too. Vehicles will have speed, acceleration, handling, and boost to consider, and this starter drive is pretty terrible as expected, but you can unlock more. Unsurprisingly, torque focuses on high boost and speed. It seems all vehicles will, at least initially, use guns and missiles. Like I mentioned in one of my first videos and was picked up 9 days later by IGN like it was breaking news, is that you'll have sliders in your menu for almost everything, like a volume slider for Claptrap. You can make him louder or completely mute him if you like. Gearbox has really leaned into the you either love him or hate him principle here. Speaking of, from what I played and what the devs have told me, the story won't be non-stop silliness and cringe, like what we saw in Borderlands 3. The Golden Pass seems to take itself seriously with some dark overtones. The silliness will still be there, sprinkled about, but will mostly be relegated to side content. One change that's caused a bit of contention is the compass. The devs seem to believe the new verticality and sheer size of the maps makes a minimap hard. They encourage you to press a button to open up the map for guidance when you need it. Otherwise, use the compass at the top. After a bit of light bullying from the community, well done guys, Randy and his team added a combat minimap that I feel is the main reason to want a minimap at all, for granular detail where the enemies are, rather than getting a vague direction from a compass. So when not in combat, you can always use Echo 4 to help you get around. You can place a pin on the map and use the compass to find your way to them. You might do this to find a world event that just opened. One we got to try had an airship landing. You would clear the mobs around the airship, then get inside and blow it up for loot. This event seemed to spawn in like world events do in Diablo 4. You might use this time to get your mates to join your world to help you out. There are lots of events and side missions littered around the world that reward you with various things like cosmetics, SDU tokens, loot, and more. It seems very densely packed. Though this part isn't new, you can co-op the whole game seamlessly. If you're level 20 and your friend is a level 5, the game balances so you're both contributing. What is new though is you can have individual difficulty settings, making it as hard or as easy as you need, and each difficulty brings with it different loot rates. Better chances of juicy, instance to you only loot, which you'll be getting plenty of because the planet we'll be exploring, Kairos, has multiple vaults, which means multiple big bad bosses and tons of loot. So this all has me incredibly excited for Borderlands 4, and I'm not ashamed to say it. After this, how do you feel? More or less excited? Have I missed anything? Let me know below. For everything Borderlands 4, you're in the right place. Ciao friends.